There are a few words that spring to mind when you think of the last 8 months: unprecedented, uncertainty, banana bread. And yet, BCM teams and staff have continued to go out and do their jobs for the benefit of some of the most vulnerable members of our society. I managed to hack into a Zoom chat between Nikki, David, and Lynn earlier today and asked them a couple of questions just on behalf of BCM as an organisation and its people. Here's what happened.
Well, here we are. Great to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Nikki, we'll get stuck right in. And as you know, it's been a bit of a roller coaster year for everyone. How is this lockdown as of early November and the ongoing COVID situation affecting BCM's work currently or likely to affect it going forward?
Look, as you highlight, Chris, there's no doubt it's been a challenging time for us all. We're entering the winter months, and I suppose the ongoing effects of COVID on both our work and family lives does continue. But I suppose I'm pleased to be able to say that BCM as an organisation has responded very positively. Our services continue to operate effectively, albeit with some change in how they're delivered. Services that had to stop as part of the first lockdown, such as Puddle Ducks and Copelands, have now restarted. And Puddle Ducks in particular is showing positive signs of recovery. I mean, we're conscious, I suppose, as a senior leadership team of the potential negative effects on our staff's mental health and well-being. And we're trying to put measures in place to try and address that as much as we can. And Lynn's going to say a bit more about that. I think it's also important to highlight that we don't have all the answers. So we are open to suggestions from the staff team in terms of additional supports that we can consider to put in place.
All very relevant, and I'm sure at the forefront of everybody's minds as we go through this. Lynn, as our Director of Care, that title translates to more than simply those in the communities or the residents our team support every day, but also the full network of BCM staff across Northern Ireland. What support is available to them from an organisational perspective?
Well, as you say, Chris, I mean, we are an organisation that has to care for its staff as well as for the residents and the service users that we work with. Part of what we are doing is in creating a health and wellbeing strategy for the organisation, and that includes linking in with Westfield Health to provide support for staff. So there's support available through that mechanism, but in addition to that, we're also looking at developing some training courses with Westfield Health, specifically looking at mental health and resilience, as Nikki has mentioned, because we know that it is extremely difficult. We have staff that are still continuing to go to their place of work, particularly in the residential areas, but we also have staff that now are working from home, dealing with a lot of issues at home. And for staff that are continuing to go to work, they have issues at home, perhaps with children being off school, other care needs. So really recognising that there are challenges. We recognise that it is difficult, and for that reason we have given some additional annual leave to staff. And we also know Christmas will be a difficult time, so we're looking at how can we celebrate Christmas in a different way from what we've done in the past.
Absolutely, yeah. David, I mean, at BCM, throughout all the work we do, we pride ourselves on the person-centred approach that in the support that we provide and our interactions with everyone that we work with. How important is it for BCM staff to know that is there for them in return?
Absolutely vital, Chris. And I do hope that all staff feel that they can approach me or indeed any of their managers for conversations about how they are doing, but that requires us all to be aware of our own personal well-being in all of this, and just be aware of the warning signs where that things aren't always all hunky-dory, and just be aware in our own lives and in the lives of those around us, those signs that maybe we're displacing some of our anxieties and worries, and not responding perhaps as well as we might be. I tend to focus on obviously the religious, spiritual side of things, but remember that the spiritual is more than just the formal religious. that we all have a spiritual dimension to that, to our lives, and not to neglect that, not to neglect the inward person as well as the outward. And if we're to be all that we hope to be for the people that we serve, then we have to look after ourselves as well.
Okay, well, thanks for that. That was all really helpful. I'm sure everyone will really benefit from knowing that there is that support out there. I just have a couple of questions for you, just to gauge how you three have been managing yourselves through these lockdowns and through the COVID-19 pandemic. Have any of you taken up a new hobby or learned a new skill?
I have. I'll own up to that one. I don't know if I would yet describe it as a skill because it's still a work in progress. But I'm a keen badminton and squash player, and I find exercise really helps me. Unfortunately, those two sports have been effectively banned for the last number of weeks anyway. So I've taken up tennis, and you'd think squash and badminton would help you with tennis, but I can pledge the fact that they definitely don't. So it's definitely a work in progress. In some ways, it's adding to my stress levels, but I'm enjoying elements of it.
I wouldn't say it's a new hobby, but you know, as BCM staff will know, I'm new to the organisation and I just moved back relocated from another country, and the house that I'm living in needs a lot of DIY. So when I'm not working, I tend to be doing DIY, which I'm absolutely terrible at. But I'll give it a go.
Well, and I suppose it's one of those things as well where, you know, in 6 months' time, you'll probably have to do it again. So
Probably. It'll probably fall down.
Give you something else to do. Yeah, good. And David, what about yourself? Anything?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I have literally started looking ahead in the week and scheduling times in which to walk, just to get out and walk, because those casual times of, you know, walking around just aren't happening anymore because we're indoors a lot more. So I literally have diaried times to walk. I also, I mean, in order to facilitate that, I also I now use a lot of podcasts to listen to while I walk, and so, you know, there's a few really good podcasts out there that are not work related.
Yeah. Have any of you any tricks or personal life hacks that have helped you get through the last few months? Like, not necessarily just in terms of, you know, any hobbies or jobs to be done, but, you know, just in terms of dealing with any anxieties that you're feeling or any pressures, just to how to mitigate that at a personal level.
Well, I would say one of the things that I do is going walking, and I do that at the end of my day, and that very much is like it's a bookend to my day. It means I know I've finished work, but I have absolutely no choice that I have to walk because I have a dog that is incessant and will sit and cry and whine and poke at me until I walk, and right at this point in time is sitting outside of the door wanting still to go for a walk, but it's a little early.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same to some degree. I mean, exercises have highlighted really helps me, but also trying to protect family time as much as possible. So we do make sure that every night where we can, we sit down and have a meal together. It gives us an opportunity, I suppose, to all catch up on each other's day, and again gets a break away from the computer for all of us. So I think that's helpful from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have a dog, and my cat. I don't have. No, I definitely don't want one. My cat isn't really into my walks, so that's why I have to diary my walks. But for me, it's about being disciplined, about getting off this, you know, and having a particular time of the day when, no, sorry, doesn't matter if I haven't done it, I haven't finished it, there's another day. And knowing that, you know, there's a certain time, and indeed certain days when the computer doesn't go on. I don't.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time and just providing that sense of information and support for everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of your weeks, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.